So today I wanted to talk about the app that I was working on in connection with my fitness and health journey. I've been using, as I explained in the last video, Gemini chat that I set up and gave some memory to in order to track my calories and track my exercise, track my biometrics, my daily biometrics, and just get myself on point. So that's been working great. And then about a month ago, I put together an app based on the knowledge and works of Greg Doucette. He's a pretty divisive figure. He's pretty polarizing. But overall, I think that he's a very knowledgeable expert on health and nutrition. He's got a master's degree in kinesiology and sports physiology, I believe. He was a teacher for many years, phys ed teacher, math teacher. So he's a smart guy. He's a IFBB pro bodybuilder, was a natural bodybuilder for many years up until he was in his 30s, I believe. He was a power lifter. So he's also was a triathlete, and he currently is a cyclist. He races in Zwift. So I have a lot in common, not obviously the level of what Coach Greg has done, but I've always been interested in cycling and weight training. Not so much the powerlifting, although I did lift heavier when I was younger. I was never an extremely strong guy, nothing like Greg, who's setting like national and world records in strength. Before he even really heavily focused on bodybuilding, he's just a natural, great genetics for weightlifting, bodybuilding, and also bike racing. So I love his message, which is train harder than last time. And I also really like his nutrition advice and how to stay or how to get lean. So I've been sort of following his advice, and in that spirit, I kind of built the app around some of his seminal works, which include his diet book, The Circle Diet, which I recommend anyone that's interested in a lifelong approach to nutrition to pick up that book. And then if you're looking for help on how to plan your meals and eat effectively, to minimize hunger and maximize nutritional density and fullness while still retaining a calorie deficit. I also recommend his cookbook. I think it's in version 3 now, and I think, the version 2 version of his cookbook. It's not a complicated diet. It's just something that you're meant to stay on for your entire life. That's why it's called the Circle Diet. It's not a up and you hit a certain goal and then you go off of the diet. This is something that you should try to maintain for the rest of your life, in conjunction with 150 minutes of cardio, zone 2 cardio per week, and strength training. So it's a fairly simple plan. I guess the difficulty in it is just the consistency and sticking with it. I've been incredibly consistent over the last 6 months, and I owe a lot of it to the Gemini chat that I was using, which was essentially an AI version of Coach Greg. And then now the app, which is just the next extension of the Coach Greg training chat. So let's have a look at it. I've got it pulled up on my iPhone here. And so in this app, it's a web-based app. I have it hosted locally on my one of my Mac Minis, and it's accessible from anywhere via a VPN. So this is not a publicly available app. I don't intend to make it publicly available. It has a lot of proprietary information from Greg Doucette, including information from his books. So what we have here is the home screen of the app. It's a Train Harder Than Last Time app, which is his catchphrase and sort of his proprietary messaging, which is harder than last time. I think his company is harder than last time as well. The daily message is coming straight from his works. Feeling sore doesn't mean you had a good workout. DOMS is just an inflammatory response to novel stress. It doesn't correlate with muscle growth. You can have an excellent growth stimulating session and feel fine the next day. So this is the type of kind of myth busting that he does. If you really watch the core of what Greg Doucette's all about, it really is no nonsense information. He does sell the supplements and the books and that type of thing. And of course, I mean, he's done very well doing that. And there's nothing wrong with commercializing his success. But I think if you really watch what he's saying, I don't think you really need anything other than a few principles that you follow. And the app kind of captures those principles, but it also adds a more complicated layer over it that is something that I'm interested in, but that other people wouldn't necessarily be needing, and that probably even Coach Greg might not even necessarily think is a necessary part of the process. And then one of the principles of Greg Doucette's process is to weigh in daily. If you weigh in daily, all other things can sort of be accounted for. And why is that? Because you're taking a median weight. If your journey is weight loss or weight gain, then weighing in daily is prescription. You can basically regulate your eating by just monitoring your weight. So your weight's going to fluctuate. So what you do is you take like the 7-day median, you strip off your outliers, your highs and your lows, and you narrow down to what your median is, like the middle value of the week, and which is different than average. It's not an average value, it's the middle value. And you sort of see that as your actual weight. If the weight goes up for the week based on the previous week's median, then you need to dial down your eating. You need to reduce your caloric intake. If your weight median goes down for the week, then you know you're on track. If it goes down too quickly, you could slow it down and add a bit more calories. If it goes down too slowly, you can reduce your calories further. So you're just basically trying to become mindful about what you eat, and your only metric that you require is your weight on the scale. That's the simplest way of doing it, is just to log your weight every day. So there's no app required for that. You can just use a spreadsheet or your notes in your phone, and then just calculate, or even on paper, just weigh in every day, and then just strip off the outliers and find your median value, and that's your median for the week for every 7 days, and then just track that. If it's going down, then you're in the right mode, and you're eating correctly and exercising correctly. And if it's going up, then you need to make an adjustment. I've added in calorie tracking, although right now I'm not logging all of my calories. And then training. So you can log your training. It gives you some of the workout routine that Greg recommends in his freely available training guide that's available if you sign up for his newsletter or on his website for notifications. You can download his nutrition and training guides for free. I highly recommend that. If you're not going to buy any of his other books, definitely look at the freely available material that he's got. There's a chat built into the app so that you can chat directly with Coach Greg and get Coach Greg based advice in his tone. I do that through prompt crafting. So in the back end of the app, it's combining some of his core principles into a prompt and sort of his tone into a prompt, and then going through one of 3 different AI backends that's selectable by me. I can either use like a locally available model. So if I'm running it on my MacBook Pro, my new M1 Max, I can run a local model directly on my computer, so I don't have to spend money on tokens. I also have the ability to run it through Gemini backend or a Claude backend. So those are selectable by me in my profile page. Then there's like a Coach Greg's Academy, which is kind of like a Noom inspired like course that you can go through but that's all Coach Greg's lessons on how to learn how to lose weight and get in shape. So that's a kind of useful little feature. It's not a massive course like the Noom course, but it's, I think, quite effective. The biometrics page tracks HRV, which is heart rate variability. I also track my grip. Grip is a good indication, and tracking your grip regularly will indicate whether or not your central nervous system is fatigued or not. The training section gives you pre-built workouts based on Greg's training system. So if you don't know what you're doing, it's a great way to get started because it gives you the workout, and you can modify the exercise. You can swap out exercises that are the same body part based on his workout plan. So if you're just getting going, it's a good way to go. Again, going to the nutrition, you can log your calories. You can set up your caloric goal for the day. Right now, I'm just trying to stay just under 2,000 calories a day as an average for the week. And that's another little tip, is to average out your caloric intake. Next is the learning. So it's the Academy. The first unit is Circle Diet Foundation. So that's his book, Circle Diet, highly recommended. Minimize suffering, which is what we just talked about. Don't suffer. Don't put yourself into a heavy deficit on a few days and then go overboard and binge on other days. And then there is the coach. So this is an AI chat that's in Coach Greg's voice. It doesn't talk, but it uses his style of very blunt, to the point advice, like get after it, do the thing, right? Whatever you're doing, do it harder than last time. Then the progress, which is showing since I started logging. I haven't been logging very long, and I missed a couple of days. My median's probably down a little bit now, but this shows you your weight trend, shows you weightlifting tonnage. This is kind of a take on cycling training, which is acute training load and chronic training load. Biometrics are heart rate variability, grip average, symmetry, grip symmetry, and then there's a chart showing those values as I track them. So this is really designed for me, specifically for me, with the tone and philosophy of Coach Greg behind it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this something that you'd be interested in building? I think the era of the personal app is upon us. I have no real desire or ability to commercialize this product. Obviously, this is Coach Greg's intellectual property. I'm using his tenets and his ideas for my own personal use, and it's not a commercial project. It won't be a commercial project. So that's it for today. I probably went a little bit long on this one, but I think it's kind of a cool project. And if you're building something of your own, if it's diet related or workout related or not, I've got other apps that I'm working on that I'll share with you in the next little while, and they're more centered around my normal topics: cinema, camera, audio. So I've done some other stuff as well, but this one's really made an impact on my day-to-day life and my progress, my personal progress. So I thought I'd share it with you. That's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again on the next one. Bye for now.